Israel dealt a huge blow against their arch-enemies in the region, Hezbollah. They assassinated the leader of this organization, Hassan Nasrallah, inside Lebanon. What will be the repercussions and what will be the latest developments in the war between Iran, Israel, and the Iranian proxies in the region? Let's find out. Hello everybody, my name is Stavros. I'm a professor of international relations and an advocate for democracy. You're with me on Black Flag Media. This is a free and independent YouTube channel. We talk about democracy, we talk about freedom and peace. We are raising the black against injustice, against misinformation, and against autocratic forces everywhere. So let's talk about this huge development. Last Friday night, we had the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. This was a huge blow against this organization. These are the most serious players in the region that are threatening the very existence of Israel. Hamas is, not that strong of or a sophisticated organization, but Hezbollah, they have almost 50,000 troops, military personnel, and they have 150,000 rockets and missiles of Iranian manufacture. So we are trying to understand what's gonna happen and what this assassination is gonna look like for the region in general. So first and foremost, this is a huge blow. Even before this assassination, the Israeli airstrikes inside Lebanon, they dealt major blows against Hezbollah. The Hassan Nasrallah, the assassinated leader himself, 10 days ago, he actually admitted by saying that the Israelis are dealing huge blows against us. So this is big. So let's see. Well, first and foremost, we should begin by mentioning that this person Hassan Nasrallah has leading Hezbollah, this organization, for 32 years. He took over from the first Secretary General of Hezbollah, who was also assassinated by Israel. Hezbollah was founded in Lebanon in the 1980s because of Israeli occupation in the country. So in a sense, Israel being an invading and occupying force, illegal in a way. So this was one of the main reasons that we have Hezbollah. And also Hamas is a byproduct of Israeli actions inside Gaza. So as you can see, Israel is part to blame for these extreme organizations. So this person took over in 1992. He has been guiding this organization. And after 2006, when actually in 2006, there was an inconclusive war between Hezbollah and Israel. Israel they had invaded the country, but nobody could actually win and prevail. And that is why the Israelis had to withdraw. They did withdraw. They had to actually flee the country because they couldn't achieve and materialize their strategic and military goals. So in a sense, it was a stalemate. But since the Israelis had to leave, this was considered to be a win for Hezbollah, and specific for Hassan Nasrallah. He was considered to be a hero. He was lionized in the minds of not only the supporters of Hezbollah inside Lebanon, which is a Shia organization. So not only for the Shia part of the country, but for everybody. He was supposed to be a hero, and he looked like a hero for many years. Although there were some troubles in his past. In 2005, Hezbollah was behind the assassination of the Prime Minister of Lebanon at the time, Rafik al-Hariri. He had some troubles and differences with Hezbollah, and Hezbollah brutally had him assassinated. But nonetheless, after they managed to force the Israelis to leave the country, this was an organization on the rise. This was everybody was content, and everything was going really, really well for Hassan Nasrallah and his organization until their implication and participation in the Syrian war, the Syrian civil war. This organization, Hezbollah, has been founded basically by the Iranians, and they are active operatives of Tehran. So after they were called by the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei himself, they had to fight inside Syria in support of the regime of Bashar al-Assad in his fight against insurgents, basically jihadists, Sunni extremist terrorists that are fighting against the government of Bashar al-Assad inside Syria. So Hezbollah has been fighting the Shia organization, which is called Hezbollah, has been fighting in support of Bashar al-Assad in Syria against Sunni jihadist, terrorist organizations such as Hayat Tahrir al-Sam, al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS before that. So they have some experience in that part of Syria, but also this alienated some members of their own base, but many people, ordinary citizens in Lebanon, saying, why are we supporting this war across the border? This is basically an Iranian objective. Are these guys truly a puppet of Iran? Yes, they were. So people start realizing that this is not just an organization supporting Lebanon and its independence and pride and I guess defense and security, but also this is the long arm of Iran in the region. So this became more obvious, and truly this is what they are. They are the long arm of Iran in the region, and that's why we can safely say that Iran also was dealt a blow after the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah. Hassan Nasrallah was a loyal subject in many sense, in any sense, of Iran, and specifically of its supreme leader Ali Khamenei. He was following orders, basically, and truly he was an instrument of Iran in the region. So this was a huge blow for the Iranians, because they have many proxies in the region, such as the troops or the militias in the Shia militias in Iraq, Syria, the Houthis, the Ansarullah in Yemen, but none as Hezbollah. Hezbollah is the most sophisticated organization in the region, so this was a huge blow for Iran. I mentioned before the fight between Bashar al-Assad and his allies, the Hezbollah fighters in Syria, against the jihadis that they were waging war against. I think it's really important to note that there were two big groups celebrating the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah. The first group was obviously the Israeli people, and the second group was these jihadists, the jihadists inside Syria, specifically in the cities of Idlib and Afrin. These are basically Kurdish cities that these jihadists took over. They have committed various crimes and barbarities and heinous crimes against the local population, against the Kurdish people, and they have been armed and controlled by Turkey, actually. So Turkey controls Sunni jihadist terrorists in the region, and they have been celebrating for the death of Hassan Nasrallah. And this is interesting. I don't know, what are your comments, guys, that we saw the celebration of Israelis on the one hand, and on the other, Sunni jihadists controlled by Turkey, members of Hayat Tahrir al-Sam, Sultan Murad Brigade, Al-Qaeda, and wars inside occupied Syria. What do you think about that? So these are some interesting points. Let's talk a little bit about the assassination inside Dahiyeh. Dahiyeh is the southern parts. It's the southern parts of Beirut. So this was the place where Hassan Nasrallah met with other leaders of this organization. He was assassinated there. It was obvious that remember a couple of weeks ago we had the so-called beeper explosion that Israel triggered in the hands of Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon, and it seems that they did not only they did not only put explosives in this walkie-talkies and beepers that Hezbollah operatives use, but they were also monitoring them. So they knew about Hassan Nasrallah's movements. They knew everything. The Israelis knew everything, and their intelligence service Mossad seems to was really on their top game here, and they're really, really capable. So they did know what Hassan Nasrallah was about to do, and he was about to meet the senior figures in the party as well, in the organization as well. So what they did actually was that they orchestrated this strike exactly the moment when Prime Minister Netanyahu flew for New York. He was about to speak in the UN General Assembly, and this led the Hezbollah leadership to lower their guards, and basically they thought that now Netanyahu, he's in a political mission to inform the world that what his next steps are going to be. He's in a diplomatic mission. He's not going to think a lot about this conflict. But that was actually the maneuver. So from his own hotel room in New York, Bibi Netanyahu orchestrated and gave the order for the assassination. And exactly because the Israeli intelligence service Mossad, they destroyed this capabilities that the Hezbollah members had to communicate, the walkie-talkies and all of that. They had to meet in person. And I think that this is why they did this beeper attack, because they wanted these people to meet in person. They met in person in Dahiyeh. They knew where they were, and they bombarded this whole district. Actually, they literally obliterated six different buildings, huge apartments. So they killed, up to this day, they have killed more than 1,000 people, according to the health ministry of the country of Lebanon. More than 1,000 people have been dead from Israeli airstrikes, and most of them, the vast majority, are innocent people, women, non-fighters, and children, unfortunately. So yes, they targeted this region, and they struck this region with more than 80 bombs. They dropped more than 80 bombs in a densely populated area of 700,000 people. 700,000 people in this Dahiyeh district. So this was really a densely populated area, and this was truly an immense strike. They report, allegedly, we have 2,000 tons of explosives that were dropped in this district, the southern suburb of Beirut. Israeli F-35 aircrafts were the ones carrying the strikes, and they used US-made bunker buster bombs. These are weapons that are, according to international law, illegal to use in a densely populated region. So because obviously you cannot differentiate between non-combatants and your enemies and your targets. So yes, they used illegal weapons that were given to the Israeli Air Force by the U.S. So the U.S. is part to blame for this war crime. This is a war crime, clearly. And the caretaker prime minister of the country, Najib Mikati, he said that, besides the crime, Israelis disregarded the so-called peace initiatives. There were allegedly, again, some efforts by the U.S., France, Germany, Australia, and other countries to have a ceasefire. Bibi Netanyahu, he basically disregarded all that. He said, no, I don't care about that. He tricked the U.S. He played them for fools. This is the best scenario for the U.S., that they were the fools of this attack. The worst scenario is that they knew, and I think that they knew. I think that the U.S. knew. They were not duped by Netanyahu. They knew they were in this. I think that the CIA gave intel to Mossad, so they worked together for this assassination attempt. So, again, the best scenario for Biden was that he was duped by Israel. The worst scenario is that he was in the know for this war crime in a densely populated area with illegal weapons, the bunker buster bombs. Also, another interesting thing to note here is who's going to be the next leader. This is the big discussion right now in Lebanon. So we have two possible people, potential candidates here. We have the number 2 of the organization, the Deputy Secretary General, the acting Deputy Secretary General, Naim Qasim, but he's not as charismatic as Hassan Nasrallah was, and I don't think that's going to be the choice of the group. And we have another one, Hassem Safieddin. This is the more charismatic individual. He is a cousin of Hassan Nasrallah. He is the designated heir by Hassan Nasrallah to lead this organization. I think this will be the most possible option. He's also really well connected with the Iranians. He studied in Tehran. His brother is the Hezbollah, ambassador in Iran. So he's really closely linked with Ali Khamenei in Tehran as well. He also heads the investment group that operates in Lebanon, across the Arab world, in Africa, Europe, North and Latin America, and he basically does all the fundraising for the organization. So he is really an influential individual, and again, he's also in the U.S. terrorist list since 2017. But in any case, whether it's going to be Hassem Safieddin or Naim Qasim, I think that Hezbollah is not going to, announce who's going to be the next their actual leader for some time, because this person, whoever that person may be, he will begin his new leadership position with a big Israeli target on his back, and they don't want that. A great example here is the latest Radwan forces commander. The Radwan forces, like the special force, the special elite units of Hezbollah. The previous was assassinated. We had another Radwan forces commander, and he was also killed by the Israelis a couple of days after his after the announcement of him becoming the commander of the Radwan forces group. So yeah, we're not going to be. I don't think we're going to be hearing from the actual leaders of Hezbollah in the near future. So finally, the last thing to note here is what happens now. Well, let me tell you about the world reaction. Obviously, Tehran is really upset, and they're shocked, and I think they're a little bit afraid about what happened and what this means for their outreach and footprint in the region. We have Iraq really, really vocal against this attack. The Prime Minister of Iraq condemned this attack. The high religious leader of the Shia community of Iraq, again, the Shias, they're the majority in Iraq. So the religious leader of the Shia community in Iraq, Ali al-Sistani, he also condemned the attack, and he declared that there will be some reaction from the Shia militias, the Popular Mobilization Forces. These are the Shia forces inside Iraq, obviously, again, controlled by Iran. They will be joining in as a reaction against Israel as well. So these are some people to note. Ali al-Sistani and the Popular Mobilization Forces. Lebanon is an interesting also case, because this country was and still is in the grip of Hezbollah's power. Hezbollah is the biggest party. They control basically everything. They have their army is stronger than the national army of Lebanon. This is an opportunity for some forces inside Lebanon to free themselves from the yoke of Hezbollah, but I don't think that is going to be something that will actually happen. And if some forces try and make a play, I think they're not going to be successful. But this is an opportunity. Now it's the moment for them, for the political forces that are against Hezbollah, to strike, because Hezbollah truly, they're really, really weak right now. Also, regarding the future and what's going to happen now, an interesting point here is that Israel is also hurting itself with this attack. We have the latest announcement from Moody's. Moody's basically downgraded Israel's credit rating from A2 to Baa1, giving them a negative outlook. This means that Israel now will have to pay more on their loans, the interest rates for their loans in the future, and also they will have to pay more to pay up their national debt. This is going to be extremely, extremely detrimental to the Israeli economy, and it seems that this war is costing a lot to Israel. According to Moody's, this war will cost a total of 10% of Israel's total GDP, which is extremely huge number. And also, they will have to rebuild their country, especially in the north part of the country and the south part of the country, and they will need to spend tens of billions of dollars to rebuild their country that has been devastated by this attack against Hamas and Hezbollah. And to pay for that, they will have to borrow again money from the markets, and they will have to do this with bigger and increased rates because of this downgrade that they have from Moody's and other similar organizations. So yeah, this is a big problem, but at the same time, the Israelis seem to be defiant. They will keep fighting. Obviously, this is a huge opportunity for them. They have the advantage. They will keep this. They will push this advantage. Israel's chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, he actually said that this is not the end of our strikes. We plan on capitalizing on this big win. Truly, they did this. Yesterday, they assassinated another leader of Hezbollah, Nabil Kaouk. He was the chief of Hezbollah's preventive security unit, and he was also a member of the High Council of the organization, the so-called Jihad Council. So yes, they have been keeping at it. They have been striking more against Hezbollah, but also they also struck against the Houthis in Yemen. So this is an opportunity for Israel. They see that Iranian proxies in the region are feeling numb and shocked and awed by this assassination. So they struck oil tanks in the port city of Hodeidah in Yemen. More than 10 strikes right now, actually, in the Red Sea. And they also targeted a power generation station and the Hodeidah International Airport. These are also war crimes if you target power stations and airports, which are civil buildings. But yes, this seems to throw a clear message to everybody that Israel is trying to capitalize on their advantage. On the other hand, we have the possible Iranian reaction. I don't think there's going to be any reaction for the time being. They will not wage war against Iran or declare against Israel or declare war against Israel for Hezbollah's sake. That's not going to happen. And the forces that Hezbollah has, and they're really, really strong. Hezbollah is not out of the woods yet. They're, especially in rural areas, they're really strong. Their network is really strong. And they have, again, 150,000 rockets given to them by Iran, but only to be used when Iran feels threatened. So I don't think that anything's going to happen on that front. Maybe the Israelis feel that they will need to invade the country, Lebanon, at least 10 kilometers deep to secure the area and push Hezbollah far above the Litani River, so they can have their citizens, Israeli citizens, move back to their houses in the northern part of the country that they had to leave after Hezbollah started their own conflict with Israel. So that's going to happen, but that's going to be a tough fight for the Israelis. They have everybody remembers the bad memories, actually, of the 2006 war. Hezbollah is strong. They know their own field of battle. They know how to fight inside their own country. It's going to be a challenge for the Israeli invading force. This is not Beirut. There are many outside and foreign players and forces inside Beirut. You have NGOs, diplomats, people working for multinationals, people that are giving intel to Israelis. And that was a big weak link in Hezbollah's security apparatus. But that's not the case for the rest of the country. So this is going to be a big trouble. In any case, Hezbollah has lost its deterrence against Israel, which means that unless Hezbollah does something to send a message to Israel that you need to stop, Israel is going to keep pushing forward, and they will want to capitalize again on this big win. So we'll see what happens, guys. This is a huge development. Again, I don't think that Iran is going to be involved in any way at this point. And considering the latest strikes against the Houthis, Israel seems to be having the momentum, and we'll see how things develop. We'll be covering any possible future, any possible scenario, whatever comes our way. We're going to be covering it, freely, and we're going to be talking freely in this channel. This is my the way that I would like to keep this channel free from any outside influence, just strict facts. Thank you, guys. This is it for today, and I'll see you in the next one. So Daniel Hagari, the spokesperson of the Israeli Defense Forces, he said that now that Hassan Nasrallah is dead, the world is a safer place. I would beg to differ, and this is because truly this was a charismatic leader. He was obviously an arch enemy for the Israelis, and he threatened Israel. He actually threatened Cyprus as well because of British bases in Cyprus and their participation in strikes against the Houthis. He threatened everybody. But this person was diplomatic enough to not, put pressure against Israel and, avoid total war. Whoever's going to lead now, I think he's going to be more brutal than Hassan Nasrallah was. We see the same thing happening in Hamas. Israel assassinated Ismail Haniyeh, a political person, and then Yahya Sinwar, a military person, took over, who is extremely, extremely violent and brutal. And, he wants to destroy the state of Israel more than anybody else. So, it's not safe to think that you will have a worse enemy than the one that you neutralize, because, again, everybody can be replaced.